Is that? Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Take two.
Take two.
Get it on two.
What is up, interwebs? Big Lou here, Matt the Cutman with me as always, and we have just come from seeing Logan Lucky. I keep wanting to call it Lucky Logan, and that's not the name of the movie.
Although it should be.
It really should be, but, you know, just for ease of us saying it. Channing Tatum, Adam Driver, James Bond.
Yeah.
Yes. All directed by Steven Soderbergh. I know you are a huge Soderbergh fan. Matthew, what'd you think of Lucky Logan?
I am a big Soderbergh fan. The Ocean series, huge fan of that. Now, I can be a Soderbergh critic.
I think we all can.
Informant was a huge swing and a miss.
I forgot that was Soderbergh.
Oh boy. Wow. It came on the TV the other day, and it made me angry.
Naturally.
But this was a swing and a connect.
I agree. I love a good heist movie, even though The Sting's not technically a heist movie, but I do. I enjoyed this movie a lot.
Yeah, it was highly entertaining. It wasn't as funny as I thought it was going to be. There
were definitely a couple of really laugh out loud, ha-ha moments, but they were very strategically placed throughout the movie. It was not a, like you would say, a raucous comedy, like something Will Ferrell would be in or something like that.
It wasn't really what the trailer billed it as.
Not at all.
As a comedy, which started to annoy me a little bit. But the entertainment value of the heist part of the movie, and just the movie itself, sold me on that right away.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with everything you just said there, and I think that
as well you should.
Well, hey, you know, sometimes you just gotta go with your gut, and you, when you're right, you're right, and you. Not always right, but most of the time. I think that the character interactions and some of the dialogue that they had with each other and James Bond. Why can't I? Daniel Craig. Jeez. Daniel Craig as Joe Bang sold this movie for me. It was such a different type of character than we're used to seeing him play. And I think you could tell he was having a lot of fun with this role. And that was the shining moment or the shining thing throughout the course of the movie. And I thought that it delivered where it needed to deliver, and I think that where it was lacking, I think it was really lacking. Not that it was lacking a lot, but it definitely had some pacing issues for me. Seemed to run a little long in certain areas, and there were a lot of characters that I just was, why is that character here? I don't understand. And we'll get into that in a little bit.
I thought, I wasn't sure really how much they were going to make fun of the bucktooth hillbilly southerner, which I'm fine with. As a person from the South, let's make fun of it just as much as possible.
Absolutely, because they won't get it.
I know what you're doing, and I don't like it. No, I wasn't sure, because you can't have an overtly annoying character. I wasn't sure if they were going to make the main characters just overly stupid.
Yeah.
The Adam Driver character. I wasn't sure how dumb they were going to make them, and they didn't make them too dumb. They had the two other brothers. As the dumb Ponzi's.
The Bang Brothers.
Yeah.
Basically. Yeah. And I agree with that. But everybody, I love movies where it's an ensemble, but there's a clear lead or co-leads in this movie. And everybody in this movie had, okay, let me rephrase. All the main players in this movie had a very specific role to fill. And I think that it worked as a unit. Some of the things that I had a problem with was, now I love Seth MacFarlane, and he was great comedy in the movie, but was his character really necessary at the end of the day? Was his character crucial to the story? I don't think so. But then again...
Well, from a plot standpoint, I think it was.
Okay. We'll get into that in the spoiler section. For now, no spoilers right up front. Was there anything about the movie that didn't work for you without giving any spoilers away?
Not necessarily. It could have been it could have been a little funnier. Mm-hmm. And I think you're right. It could have been a little shorter, but the payoff at the end was ultimately worth it, I think.
Yeah, no, I agree. And we had talked about that as we were walking out of the theater. So overall, a very enjoyable afternoon at the movies. Highly recommend that you go check it out in the theaters. If you haven't seen it yet, go check it out. Pause this right here and then come back for some spoiler stuff. So you've been warned. Spoilerific time. So what about the plot did you think he served? Seth MacFarlane's character.
So Seth MacFarlane's character, yeah. So at the end where he tried to identify Adam Driver's character, and the FBI had to run down and say, "Oh no, they were in the prison," and they had to talk to the warden, and oh no, the warden's confirming. That just locked down their alibi. Whereas it could have been ambiguous. Nobody physically saw them in the prison. There was no evidence that they were in the prison. The nurse didn't have eyes on them. They could have escaped and come back, but now you've got the warden vouching for them to the FBI, saying, no, these guys were here. We don't have an escape problem.
Oh, the warden was vouching for him due to his hubris, and I see what you're saying, and if you look at it that way, then yeah, I'm not saying I didn't like having Seth MacFarlane in the movie. Because
plus, you got Seth MacFarlane in a mustache with an Australian accent. Come on,
no, I'm not. Like I said, I'm not taking anything away from that. I thought he did great, and what they gave him to do was he did it very, very well.
Yeah.
And can I just say, Sebastian Stan doing the yoga was.
It's my OS. Would I feed my OS? Yeah, that was great.
It's absolutely hysterical. Yeah. So there were definitely a lot of funny moments in this movie. Another thing that really didn't work for me was, as far as the pacing goes, when he gives the money back or leaves the money to be found, I felt that there was way too much time spent between when he leaves the truck there and when we finally get that payoff. It's still and the payoff was great when they do the montage of how they actually did and everything. And the moral of the story is, if you're going to be a crook, don't be greedy. As was with most of Soderbergh's stuff.
Yeah.
But did you find that the gap in story there with Hilary Swank and the investigation and the whole thing, did that bother you as much as it bothered me with how long it took?
I think in that it really... I was definitely annoyed, but I was more annoyed at the character. I'm like, come on, after all this, you gave them all the money back, and now we're all in the same place. There was no point to this story.
That's where I was going with it, too, because you knew, or at least I did, that they kept some money.
Sure.
You know, you knew that they didn't do it all for nothing. And then, I guess from a storytelling standpoint, I guess that's maybe what Soderbergh was going for, is like to make the audience feel as frustrated as the brothers and as Joe Bang.
And then there was the payoff. So
yeah.
So I was fine with it as long as there was that payoff.
Yeah, and I loved that when they first see the Bang brothers bobbing for pig's feet, which
as one does
in West Virginia. No offense to the beautiful state of West Virginia, but he said, we're really going to trust these guys with what we're doing. And Channing Tatum responds with, they'll know what we want them to know. Did you hear, was that enunciated clearly enough at the beginning?
No, I think that was purposefully...
Okay, good. I'm glad that I'm not the only one that picked up on that. Yeah. So, and then at the end, when they showed that same sequence from a different camera angle, we clearly hear him say, they'll know what we want them to.
Classic Soderbergh.
Yeah, exactly. So, overall, any final thoughts about?
I was waiting for an Ocean's 11 type payoff at the end, and then I thought, wow, I'm really not going to get an Ocean's 11 type payoff at the end, and then
we got it at Spades,
and then he did the old switcheroo,
which was outstanding,
and so my hat's off to him.
Yeah. Ocean's 7-Eleven is the perfect. Yeah. Is the perfect...
Nice throwback.
Perfect way to describe this movie. It was Ocean's 7-Eleven. And, yeah, hats off to Soderbergh and the whole crew. Those are our thoughts on Logan Lucky. Wow.
I tell you, you really the name does not roll off the tongue.
Yeah, no, not at all. Logan Lucky is in theaters. Go check it out. If you like what we're doing here and you want to see more of the stuff that we're reviewing and reacting to, you can go ahead and subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you like this reaction, go ahead and give us some love. Give us a thumbs up. We got something else fun for you to watch right here. In the meantime, we're going to be breaking out all kinds of stuff down on the interwebs.